Hey, Ben Patwa here, and I want to talk about a concept that is really something that typically affected people much later in life, something called adrenal fatigue. And this is an issue that happens when our adrenal glands, which are little hormonal glands that sit on top of our kidneys, they get stressed and overworked, overused to the point where they fatigue. And we have an imbalance of go, 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 fight or flight, push, 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 type A hormones with those rest and digest, relax, and repair hormones. And when that happens, we've seen people who, typically something that later in life, women found around menopausal times that they realized they had adrenal fatigue, because really menopause symptoms are a signal of adrenal fatigue. Those aren't things that should normally happen. And in men, they found it much later when they started to feel decreased libido, their muscle wasn't being maintained, or they were losing muscle mass quickly, and they were feeling shifts in their energy, like the andropause or the male menopause. So what I'm finding is clients are coming to me in their 30s or even as young as 20, 21 who have stage 3 adrenal fatigue. This is incredibly important and something that I'm going to talk about, factors in our lifestyles and factors in our environment that lead to this issue, and then what we can do about it. All right, so adrenal fatigue, what is it? It's something that, has actually been around and known about in the holistic world for quite a long time, and I still find it's interesting that it's such a new topic for people, something that a lot of people have never even heard of. So, hopefully this will help a lot of people out, understanding that adrenal fatigue happens when our adrenal glands, and you've heard of adrenaline. Well, adrenaline comes from adrenal glands, so that's that push hormone, that's the painkiller, that's the push through it, get it done, cross the finish line, stay up late to get our career forward. College kids must get, incredible amounts of fatigue trying to use coffee or 5-hour energy, which you should never take, right after they're like studying long hours or going out partying to try to cram for tests and exams. So this is something that really has come on and got into people younger and younger and younger as the years have gone on with the use of technology. So if we're sitting there with our phone all day long, those little images and that rush of information that comes into our brain through our eyes just stimulates our body way too much. And if you're using your phone before bed, hopefully you can cut that out, because that's going to affect your sleep hormones or your recovery hormones. And our adrenals, they get stressed because we've been constantly fed these media images of Photoshop magazines, or celebrities, or people who get Wolverine's latest diet to get ripped for X-Men, or whatever it is, that you're being fed these messages that we should be as lean as possible, and couple that with the bad advice and the wrong or false research that has been pumped our way for years now about fats and saturated fats being bad for our health. Yep, Mythbuster alert. If you haven't heard it yet, I'm here to tell you, fats and saturated fats are not the enemy. They are not the cause of huge amounts of heart disease, as the American Medical Association and medical associations around the world have said that they are. It's complete wrong, false information. I'm going to keep it as clean as I can. So there's some books that I have that you can read more, some articles, we can talk about that in more detail at other times. I just want you to understand that what we do to our body, having low amounts of fat, trying to lose body fat, is actually causing more stress and a decrease in our ability to produce hormones. Half of our hormonal structure, especially our recovery steroidal hormones like estrogen, which makes women work better. Progesterone makes them feel young. Testosterone, that gives us our energy, our muscle integrity, gives us our sex drive or libido. Those are things that their production will decrease incredibly if we don't have enough or the right types of fats in our diet. And when we do decrease the amount of fat in our diet, we increase by 4 times the production of cholesterol, because our bodies know we need it. So we have all this talk about cholesterol and fat being the enemy, and our bodies respond by increasing the production when we decrease our consumption. hopefully this has got through to you now, where you're not looking at fat as the enemy, and instead of making those non-fat, low-fat, this, that, and the other choices, you just go back to real foods. You know, we do need to exercise control with our portions, especially in the West. And we need to understand when is the right time to have certain foods for our bodies, and just generally based on, you know, the way we live our lives today, which is a hell of a lot more sedentary. So what we need to also pay attention to